Yeah, I'm not a scientist, really. I was a criminal lawyer, I was a criminal barrister. And it's good to see one or two familiar faces here this evening. I'm glad to see you out about again. And even from that, I got distracted from that, and I got onto sort of television, and I interviewed the good, the bad, and the ugly, or Sir Jimmy Savile, as he was called. But I do. Oh, is that too soon for that? Anyway, I do have some scientific qualifications. I did science A-levels, chemistry, what was it? Yes, chemistry, zoology, maths, and I went beyond that to further maths. So I hope, maybe keep up. And I could have done better, obviously, because I was actually at school with, or at the same school as Sir Paul Nurse. He was obviously 1 or 2 years ahead of me. We didn't call him Sir Paul in those days. We knew he was going places, obviously. He was a very good student. We called him Student Nurse, in fact. But I remember looking up to him. In fact, I had to, because he was forcing my head down the gentlemen's toilets at the time. It was some sort of initiation procedure. I don't hold it against him, the bastard. Anyway, but he's gone down in... That was his other nickname. But the great... He has gone on the annals of the history of the school, or the post-school. It's a grammar school, it doesn't really exist, but we do gather together from time to time in sort of reunions and things. About, I think, 10 years ago, we were supposed to meet at one of these things. It was for the Drama Society, and we were all going to gather there. And another sort of distinguished alumnus had the job of reading out the excuses of the people who couldn't be bothered to turn up. And it was, because we were getting on a bit, it was sort of, oh, can't come, I'm not fit enough to travel, or my mother's not well, or my daughter's getting married, I'm stuck in Birmingham. Paul's nurse letter was, sorry, I'd love to be with you. Unfortunately, I have to be in Stockholm, where I'm getting the Nobel Prize tonight. Well, as excuses go, it was pretty impressive, and he remains our most distinguished old boy. Not saying you're old, but anyway, it's an old boy. But so this is great to be gathered here for these purposes in this particular building. The Royal Institution was founded the end of the 18th century by the leading scientists of their day in order to promote the purposes of science. And the Francis Crick Institute is I suppose, the modern equivalent, or taking that further. So it's a brilliantly chosen place to do it. And I'm very pleased to see this building being constructed. I'm hoping that we have some very high-value, well-connected people in the room. So you probably don't go north of the Euston Road, so you don't know what it's like there. But the area, generally speaking, around King's Cross used to be quite rough. There used to be drug addicts, there was lots of prostitution, there was violence, there was robbery, there was thieving. It's what we at the criminal bar call the good old days. But since the last few years, it's been transformed. They've ripped out railway sidings and potato yards. They've put up all sorts of buildings. King's Cross station itself has been transformed. It's still being done at the front, but the side is magnificent. St. Pancras has been rescued, the whole hotel and the structure. The station has been... It's a fantastic location. And there's the wonders of modern science all the way around there. Nowadays, you can get from Paris, Gare du Nord, to London St. Pancras in just over 2 hours. And then nip in a taxi, and it takes you not much longer than that to get from there to here. So they've got the Guardian building, they've got King's Place, a concert hall, flats and offices going. It's a transformed area. And the Crick Institute is going to be the jewel in that particular crown. It's virtually next to the British Library, which had some problems in getting built, had some criticism about its design from Prince Charles and other forward-thinking critics of architecture, but this building is going, as I understand it, it's going on time. It's fitting with the modern way of doing things in Britain, like the Olympic Games, and things are done ahead of time and properly. And so this institute is going to be fantastic, combining the Cancer Research UK, Medical Research Council, Wellcome Trust, the various London university colleges that are involved as well. And it's named after, of course, Francis Crick. And if I can again refer back to my school days when I wasn't making as much progress as Sir Paul Nurse, doing biology and zoology, it's odd to think how time changes. When we were hearing about the discovery of formulation of the double helix by Crick and Watson at Watson in 1953. I suppose I was at school there in the 1960s. What was this? 1960, such a different year. It was odd, wasn't it? The country was bankrupt. We're uncertain of our place in Europe. Unpopular government. Bruce Forsyth was a big star on Saturday television. It was a different world. But the 1953 seemed a long time before. But of course, as you get older, you realize it was very close in time, and teachers getting excited about that sort of discovery were talking about their time and so recent time. So it's only in, well, my lifetime, some of your lifetime, not everybody's, that this work has been done on genetics. It's gone such a long way from formulating what the double helix looked like in 1953 to, well, this week's news we've heard about Angelina Jolie, who's taken this radical step to have mastectomy based on the information that she was able to get via her doctors about the genes that revealed her likelihood of contracting cancer. Obviously it's a stressful story, but it just shows how much information is now available. And of course, there is more progress to be made in the next 50, 60 years. It's 60 years, isn't it, between 53 and now. I did maths, but I wasn't obsessed by it. But anyway, we're going to have three proper speakers in just a moment. So Paul Nurse is going to be speaking about, as I mentioned, he was educated at, I like to think it was my school, and then Birmingham University, East Anglia, Edinburgh, head of microbiology at Oxford. He was Director General of the Cancer Research UK, President of Rockefeller University in New York. Along the way, he picked up this Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 2001. I believe it's for the discovery of protein molecules that control the duplication of cells in the cell cycle, something I was working on myself at school, but foolishly I left a piece of paper all written down on to you, obviously. No, you do remain the most distinguished alumnus of our school, though Kimberly Rue, who wrote Walking on Sunshine, winner of the Eurovision Song Contest with the Wales, he was also there, probably in your year, President of the Royal Society, Chief Executive and Director of the Francis Crick Institute. He'll be talking about the Institute and related genetic matters in just a moment. He'll be followed by Professor Steve Jones, who's the former head of Department of Genetics, Evolution and Environment at the University College London, born and brought up in Wales. I think he's going to be delivering his speech in Welsh tonight. Studied zoology at Edinburgh and did research on snails there. Some people, gardeners, hate snails. They attack them. The French eat them. He studied them. He'll be well known to, I would think, pretty well everybody here as a great scientist and great communicator, prize-winning author and broadcaster on zoology, biology, science generally, evolution in particular. You'll have watched his programs, TV programs, heard him on the radio, read his columns in the Daily Telegraph. There'll be some Daily Telegraph readers here, I'm fairly confident. His talk is entitled, Is It Nature, Nurture, or Neither? And I think that could be almost the theme of the whole evening, because after our three speakers, we're going to have they'll be forming a panel, and I'll be sort of fielding questions from you in the audience. So while they're speaking, if you can be thinking of questions you want to ask them, it can be about the Crick Institute, it can be about genetics, it can be about any of the subjects they speak about. And then we'll have Dr. Ulton McDermott, who's a practicing oncologist at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, but he's also, I hope I got this right, the Career Development Fellow Group Leader in the Cancer Genome Project of the Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute in Cambridge. Is that all right? I feel I could rearrange all those words in a different order. And he's at the Sanger Institute, which is, of course, named after Fred Sanger, a double Nobel Prize-winning genomic... Paul, I'm sorry, he's a double... he did it again. So... Personalized medicine is the future. That's going to be the theme of Ulton McDermott's talk. So that takes it back into the topic of medicine and treatment of the patient. So as I said, there'll be a discussion after that. It's always the difficulty getting the first question, because we're also diffident in this country. But let's not hold back on the first question. But for our first of our three talks from these brilliant scientists, first of all, it's my great pleasure, after all these years, to be catching up with him again. And could I have my protractor back? Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Paul Nurse.